morning and welcome to your daily game face. I'm Dr. Kim Lannon and I'm already starting in on Lou today because he's in a mood and he tells me that I was attacking him last week. So we're still holding grudges from last week.
I'm in an excellent mood. You gave me whiskey.
We're supposed to be living our best life and you're holding a grudge that you felt sick last week and I was attacking you.
You were kind of aggressive last week.
You were Scrooge.
Well,
notably, even listeners were like, yeah, he was Scroogey.
Admittedly.
Okay, well then
I'm not denying that.
I mean, attacking is a little bit aggressive in terms of the word description of how I was with you.
You were upset with me because I didn't reveal to you that I was sick.
Yes, I was upset with you because you did not reveal that, but I wasn't attacking you. I was just a little verklempt.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
I just gave you a Christmas gift.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful Irish whiskey.
Where's the gratitude?
Well, that's two different subjects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, Merry Early Christmas. I gave Lou his Christmas present because he likes his yummy evening adult beverages. So yes. I gave him his early so that he can enjoy it for the next 3 weeks before Christmas. Yes. So, and I thought it was a really unique one. What's it called again?
Tyrone Connell. It's named after a horse.
Yes. And it's from Ireland.
My Irish side is Connolly too, so maybe the horse is related to me.
Or maybe that intuition thing, that paranormal thing, spoke to me through ESP and channeled the horse and said, "It's Lou."
It's entirely possible.
Okay.
Might have been me in another life.
Yeah. Anyway, so in the.
And by the way, you kind of paused when I asked you. You said you spent a lot of time selecting it.
Yes.
So I asked you why you selected it. Because you spent a lot of time, so I wanted to hear what you.
What? So okay, so I spend a lot of time because I like you. It's important that you have something new. I know you know a lot of them. I wanted to have something unique. I wanted to show that it was like, oh, I put some thought and effort into it. I matched it to how I thought your personality was. It has some honey and vanilla notes in it. I know you like to sit by the fire and drink it. Yep. You know, all those things came into play. And I did a little research on them to say, oh, which one's sweeter? Which one's a little more smoky?
So I didn't know if you took that question correctly because I knew you did thorough and I wanted to understand the qualities of it that you liked that brought it to me.
Oh, well, I enjoyed the stories of them. I had a couple. There was a toss-up. Don't ask me to tell you what the other ones' names are because they're all blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But they all had interesting stories and they all had like history, big histories behind them of where they came from and what county in Ireland and where they're bottled and how they're bottled and what kind of oak. That one has an interesting barreling. Did you read about it?
Yeah. Well, it's distilled in the old cask system. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to find out what that is.
The old barrels. So the old previously used and enjoyed, so they have lots of flavor and richness to them.
Yes.
See, like look at the depth of that.
No, I know. Right? I wanted to tap into that because I know. Yes. I know you did a thorough job.
Because I know you enjoy it, and it's not just it's like everything we embody in what I say in the show is that enjoy the thing that you're enjoying instead of just taking it for granted and enjoy it.
Right.
And look, we've got comments today. I can actually see comments. Oh my goodness, I'm not blind. Barrels tell him where Barrels Old Bourbon. Okay, well, John knows. Thank you, John, for sharing with Lou. Yes, John was very interested in what I picked as well, so he wanted to know all about it, so I told him.
Nice. Oh, and John, thank you too, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Come from John?
I didn't say it came from John. John put some effort into it too.
No, he didn't. He looked at the bottle when I brought it home.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Well,
so don't give him credit.
All right, that's fine.
God,
I retract my credit.
No good deed. Whatever. Enjoy it.
See, I'm being punished for Dunkin' Donuts right now. You're transferring your anger.
I'm not angry. Don't displace and project out emotions on me that are not there. What are you referring to, Lou, about Dunkin' Donuts?
You thought you were going to be late. You actually made it on time, by the way. Even though we started a minute too late because I had to adjust in case you were actually late.
Thank you. And I texted you. Don't say what I texted you. But I texted you and you said late.
Yeah.
Expletive, sort of.
So I asked you about traffic and you said it wasn't traffic. It was Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes, it was Dunkin' Donuts traffic.
So you're frustrated by Dunkin' Donuts and I feel like I'm getting some of that.
Taking the brunt of Dunkin' Donuts.
Getting some of that.
Well, actually, in fact, it wasn't the Dunkin' Donuts itself. It was the people in line that are doing other activities in the line.
In the store itself?
No.
Oh, in the
drive-through.
Oh, so they weren't keeping up?
Well, we're throwing garbage away, we're texting, we're putting on makeup, like, you name it, I could see it in the line.
Are they ordering for the whole office? That's my favorite.
Well, that too, probably. Yeah. But even so, I know the guys at my Dunkin' Donuts really well. And so, like, when I pull up, they just see me and they go ahead, pull forward. And today I said, I can't pull forward because the people in front of me are not moving. And they said, oh, wait till you hear the story we have for you when they always tell me stories. So they had a very interesting story about the morning has been like that in general. So I was not alone in feeling the agitation at them. Yep. But I'm not agitated now, but I was like in a hurry to get here. So I give you a Christmas gift.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and lose over is cold.
Yes. I'm 98% over my cold.
Yes, because I got near you today and asked you, are you sick? And you said no, and you don't sound sick today.
Yeah.
So Lou, this weekend, moving on to the next subject, this weekend, I will be coming up to take pictures of the snowy owls.
Oh,
because they are in full bloom up near your house. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
So many pictures of the snowy owl.
You know, why do you have to have the face of disgust? Like, this is an enjoyment thing. Why do you take away from the happiness of me?
I'm not taking away any happiness.
You're just like, there's so many pictures.
And develop the Plum Island drinking game. Whenever there's a picture of the pink house or a snowy owl or a piping plover, everybody drinks.
They're really beautiful, and it's really rare, unless you go all the way up to like Antarctica. So, you know.
Really, it's rare?
Well, how many people do you know see snowy owls?
I don't know, but I would imagine they only come to Plum Island. I would imagine.
Well, they come to Duxbury. They come down to. They only come to very specific places.
It's like the piping plovers. Apparently, we're the global central for piping plovers for some reason.
So snowy owls only come to very specific places in this area, and then they fly back in March and April.
Almost all of them.
This is it. They come here, Duxbury, down to the Cape a little bit, and
do you think that one owl stayed over this summer?
You what?
Do you think that one owl stayed over this summer, or did he finally leave?
I don't know. I'm sure they probably know. I didn't follow to see, but I imagine, I'm hoping, because I know they didn't take him in and like hold him, or there was nothing wrong with him. I know that they watched for him, but I would imagine he flew the coop. Some owls, I guess, hang out, from what I hear, till June, depending, and that's just, so maybe he was a June owl.
Probably hang out until the greenheads come out, and then they're out of here, like everybody else.
That's not till August.
Yeah, I know.
So, but anyway, so they're back and they're beautiful, and I'm very excited, and I'm going to go searching.
I haven't seen one yet this year.
Well, that's probably because you're in your house.
Not in my house. I'm here right now.
Well, then this weekend when I come up, I'll make sure I call you and you come out searching with me on the dunes.
Sure.
Right. So now moving along to the next topic.
I'll bring you a flask
this morning.
I'll bring you a flask of the whiskey.
You what?
I'll bring you a flask of the whiskey.
A flask?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a little flask?
I
should have gotten you a
I have
flask.
3 of them.
Oh, do you actually use those?
Oh, God, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I always laugh about like how they still sell them in like Sharper Image and like things remembered and all that, and you can engrave them. I'm like, who uses?
Well,
those?
You know, you don't
like,
want to bring a bottle of whiskey.
On, like, the Western Front doing a little.
Well, you don't want to bring a bottle of whiskey out on the beach. So,
well,
you bring a flask.
There's nothing wrong with looking derelict and paper baggy, walking along Plum Island. Come on now.
No, we all know each other out there.
See, so you have to look really classy. Is it diamond encrusted?
No. Just some standard metal flasks.
Oh, so because that's so much better than just drinking out of the bottle.
Well, it is. I mean, at least you're deferring. You're kind of showing a little respect.
Class.
Yeah. No, not class. There's nothing classy about a flask.
So no class. Okay, so now I'm going to switch topics to a more serious topic for just a second. So this was a fun topic initially. So this weekend, as we always try to catch up on our weekends, I had a great weekend because I had the wonderful honor and privilege to, of course, join the Boston Bruins alumni in a wonderful hockey event that they did playing the Navy SEALs who came up from Virginia Beach. So a whole bunch of the Navy SEALs were here, and the Warrior for Life Fund, which we've had Frank Simonetti here from the Boston Bruins alumni, and a whole bunch of the guys, Dave Jensen and, Nifty, and, tons of people were there. And then the whole team of Navy SEALs that came up that are both retired and active duty guys. And we had a great weekend. And unfortunately, at the same time, we had a very large tragedy over the weekend in the Navy SEAL team.
Oh, no.
There was an accident over the weekend, a training accident. And so all this wonderful stuff was unfortunately highlighted by a very bad accident where the SEAL passed away. So my heart and soul and condolences go out to the family. They're not releasing names and stuff like that right now. I mean, I'm aware of what's happened and who it is, but currently, if anyone wants to help out, there hasn't been any release of how to help the family yet, but I can tell you that if you certainly want to make a donation to the Warrior for Life Fund, it helps Navy SEALs and their families and people with PTSD and all the afflictions from serving, and helps them play hockey and offers services to the families and current members, like they were up here this weekend. So certainly you could make a donation to them, or you could reach out eventually to me and I can send you places to go to help out this family, because eventually they're going to probably need a lot of love and support. So at this time though, but please keep all your special warfare people and everyone who serves for us in this country under your hearts and minds this week and always, because tragedies happen and it's very sad. So a very wonderful event this weekend ended in a
get some help with the family, because they're going to need it.
Yeah. So when I get more details that I'm allowed to share, I will certainly do that. But in the meantime, if I can certainly pass along any kind of donation or support you'd like to offer to the family. I can say that they're down south, so anything would have to either be sent directly to the warriorforlifefund.org or through me, or you can go to the Navy SEAL Foundation and certainly help there. So I will keep updating if we have any more information to give out to the public, but in any case, please send your good, loving vibes out into the world. So, yeah. So it was great event. And then on the heels of it, so, fluke accidents and things happen kind of thing. So you certainly can read about it. It's in the Navy Times. So if you go online, you can read about the incident, but it's very brief and nondescript. So, so we go from all the fun stuff to, and I sort of saved it sort of in between because it transitions us into what the topic was going to be for the week anyway. But, here's a hard time of year anyway. And I was just saying to someone this morning, texting, that, it's, no time is ever a good time to have someone pass away. But I think the holidays are just so rough on people for obvious reasons. And, here you are 3 weeks out or 2.5 weeks out from Christmas and something like this happens. And it happens to people every day, but it's just, it's so much in the forefront when it's right there. And so,
and at that point in that family's timeline, it's not expected.
Right. Yeah. And so, and then what it does is it marks and associates people to the holiday. Yeah. And that's an unfortunate thing, because then it's always associated. So, I mean, there's certainly, when I talk about grief eventually somewhere down the line here, I can talk about that, but in grieving, it's better to actually do other things around it than just grieve, which a lot of people just kind of take it as a day to do things that make you even more sad.
Right.
But we'll talk about that at some point. But nonetheless, it's not a good time. No time is good, but this time is rough.
Yeah.
So again, hearts and souls and good vibes out into the universe for Gold Star families and people who've lost loved ones in special warfare. And thank you for your service. And for people out there that are mourning the loss of this young man in SEAL team. So, yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. So, pause. And then now we're going to move on. So now I can go back to giving you a hard time.
Okay.
So in my race up here to give you a Christmas gift, I left my notes in the car that I was going to talk about today. So now I have to wing it off the top of my head, which is what I usually do anyway. But I had some really good notes that I wanted to talk about. So I think I probably got them ingrained. But it's your fault if I don't.
It's kind of my job. But yeah, okay.
So we had a conglomeration of topics last week to set us up for the next few weeks. And over the past week, I've been thinking about last year when I did my resolution shows on, how to not make resolutions and how not to get trapped in the trap of, the 1 month and then done kind of thing.
Right.
So what I've decided to do, and I will have more coming as the next 3 weeks come, right, is that I'm going to help people set a 12-month goal. So we're going to do like one a month. So when we're going to do a check-in every month, so at least once, to say, what's your goal for the month? And then you're going to work on it. Okay. So I'll flesh that out a little bit more as we go. But so what I want to front load this with is, if people have never seen the show or heard the show before or done any kind of psychological search in their life, is that every year, the reason why we start off the new year with trying to start new things is because we feel that it's a fresh start.
Yep.
Right. It's the fresh start effect, essentially. And if you start fresh on the first, then everything goes by the wayside. You erase all the old stuff. It goes away. Right.
Turn the page. Yeah.
So what?
Turn the page.
Yeah. Turn the page, but sometimes turn a whole new book, start a whole new something. Right. So, and it falls short for lots of reasons. And for many people, it is successful, but for most people, it tends to fall short. And then people get disappointed. And then if you make it to February, great. If you make it to March, even better. But usually after that, it starts really falling apart, like completely. So there's different things to do around setting yourself up for being your better self. And I always tell people, don't wait until the first, when you could start today or tomorrow. Like tomorrow not being like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow because it's, but really saying, okay, I'm going to make a plan. And one of the things that people don't do is they don't make a plan. Plans are super important, because if you have a goal that doesn't have a plan, it's pretty likely it's not going to be successful, or as successful as you want it to be, and you'll be easily sidetracked. So if you have a goal, two things. If you have a goal, you need to make it really specific, and you have to make it small enough to be attainable, and you have to break it down into smaller things that can be attainable to reach the bigger one. And you actually have to write it down. So some people like to tell other people, and there's lots of good research on, if you tell someone else, you'll be more accountable.
Yep.
I'm of the mind that if you tell someone else, it has to be the person that you really trust that's not going to turn on you, because many people I've had in my practice will tell other people, and the other people that they tell in their lives tend to sabotage them. And then the teller becomes sabotaged by proxy because of the person they chose to tell.
Right.
So, okay. So there's lots of really specific things here. So I think I've referenced,
you get the wrong person. You get doubt instead of encouragement. You get doubt instead of support.
Or yes, doubt, and you get I'm trying to find the right word. We'll see, because I come from the reference where I watch a lot of clients I call it soul sucked.
Yeah.
They get the soul sucked out of them because their dream is to do blah, blah, blah. And then the person that they've told, or the people they've told, encourage it, but they're passive aggressively encouraging it, or they're semi-supporting it, or they sabotage. So yeah, it's doubt, but it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
So, so it becomes a multiple, like just take weight, for instance.
Yeah.
Right. That's always the big one. Weight and finances and quitting smoking and better family time. Right. So
the wrong person doesn't want you to be successful in that because it highlights their problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard for people to hear and see that, well, if I tell someone, why would they want me to not be successful?
Yeah, don't leave the heavy herd. Stay with me.
Exactly. So, miserable company likes miserable company. And so it's not just that, and it's hard. It's a hard concept for people to think that someone wouldn't want good for you, but people don't, I think, intentionally put it out there overtly as much as they just, it's like they sabotage it because like, oh, why wouldn't you want to have another piece of pie? You don't need to save that money, buy that dress. Like it comes in all different forms.
You look fine. You don't have to lose weight.
Right.
Because they're modifying their own self-image to
exactly.
This is fine. I don't have to lose weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I would recommend, so right out of the gate, if you're going to tell someone, which is accountability, you're going to tell someone that either is in a therapy role, right? Like someone like me who will have no judgment on it in a client load, right? Or you're going to tell someone that that is not in your family, that will not judge you, because judgment is huge, or that will not, sabotage or collude with the behavior that you're trying to extinguish.
Right.
And I mentioned family because family members tend to be the colluders and the enablers of the behavior that you are trying to get rid of, because usually they're participating in it with you.
Right.
So, and if you take, and this is not for everyone, but this is very common, weight issues tend to run in the family, right? And it's not genetics. It's just,
Right.
It's a model down, trickle down
Culture.
effect. Financial things, same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Patterns of spending, same thing. Exercise habits, same thing. So it's the modeling of that. So you can take, smoking, same thing. It's depending on the behavior. But if you look at the behavior you really want to change for the year, and you look at your family members around you, or by and large, you're going to find that there's a larger amount of people supporting the behavior that you're trying to change than they're supporting the change in the behavior.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So hopefully that all made sense.
Yep.
So really finding the person, and if you don't have the person, that's okay, because writing it down to yourself and keeping yourself accountable by writing it down to yourself is going to also help. Sometimes I've had people, like, for instance, in a gym situation, if they don't have a person they can trust, I tell them to tell the person at the gym at the front desk that they see every day, like, I'm going to run another mile today, or so that you're at least telling someone that's in the venue that you're doing that with, or, bank tellers, if you go into your bank and you're saying, I'm putting another $50 in this week, or you're getting the reinforcement from someone that's not, it doesn't have any investment in whether you do or you don't. They're just there to say, good job, or thanks for telling me, so that you're not getting yourself into, oh, I wonder what they're thinking. Because if they're at the gym, they're like, yay. If they're at the bank, they're saying, yay for you. So there's always in your favor, So breaking your goals down. So finding one big goal.
Very important. This is really important.
This is super important. Yeah. Taking the big goal. So, people talk about this from now until New Year's with me for the next 3.5, 4 weeks. I want to have a better life. That's way too vague, way too big. I want you to have a better life too. But what does that mean? What does that look like? I want to feel good. Great goal, big goal. I want to feel good. What does that mean? What does that look like? Because there's so many facets to what that means. Common ones are always, and it's easier for me to talk about weight or money, because those are the big ones in the country, right? That we go for is, I want to lose 50 pounds.
Plus,
or I want to invest and make, $50,000 this year in savings.
Yeah. But those are quantifiable,
right?
Which make them a little bit easier. When you say, I want my life, I want to feel better, that's not quantifiable. It's more vague, so it's tough to.
Well, it depends, right? Yeah. There's quantifiability to some of it, and there's qualifiability to some of it. That's a word, qualifiability. Mm-hmm. Huh? I'll have to make sure that's a word. But there's I want a better life, and you say, okay, well, what does that look like? And so a lot of my clients will say, I want to have less anxiety when I'm around family. I want to feel better about myself when I talk to fill in the blank.
Yep.
And those are specifics. Now, we can measure those things, because then when I give techniques out for the person to try, like, for instance, they have a difficult relationship with someone and they try to cross the bridges. They can still feel better about themselves if they're an advocate for themselves and they don't have the expectation that the other person's going to change.
Right.
One of the biggest things about I want to feel better in relation to other people, and there's specific reasons, is one of the reasons why people end up feeling better is because they let go of the hope and the expectation that the other person's going to change. The only thing you're trying to do is, I need to be able to express my voice to have them hear how I think and feel in a healthy way that doesn't annihilate them emotionally, but yet gets my point across that doesn't feel right, or that doesn't feel good, or this feels great. And so you're trying to reinforce and draw in good, healthy behavior towards you and reject the not so great behavior or the negative emotions that come typically, usually in those relationships.
But also, those negative emotions and those negative interactions, sometimes, to quote Bill, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you change your quality of life around that is changing your reaction to it.
Right. So that would be the breakdown goal. So if someone says, I want to have a better relationship with this person I have an antagonistic relationship with, for instance, the goal would be then that, how are you going to get there? You don't just osmosis, right? It doesn't, we just cross over. But that's the first thing, is what is similar to what you say. And what I tell my patients is, when you have antagonistic relationships like that, it's because both people or the parties are reactive, and reactions come out of emotion. And if you're emotional, it usually goes south, right? It goes falls apart.
Yep.
So when you're responsive, which is out of logic and rational and reasonable and realistic, Dr. Kim's 3 R's, rational, realistic, and reasonable. When you're that way and you're responsive and you're calm, then the reactiveness goes away and the other person's automatically going to change. Now, they may get more reactive, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
But eventually, if you stay in your response mode, for instance, in this example, your response mode is going to dictate the relationship for you. So you're not going to walk away upset and hurt and angry. You're going to walk away reasonably and realistically and rationally with, I said what I needed to say to not defend myself, but to say, I don't want to participate in that and I'm not going to. And I'm not going to get upset because there's no skin in the game for me. Whereas, and that's really hard for people because we get into the right fight, right? I've talked about that, right? It's better to be right but it really isn't. So the right fight is, I have to be right. I have to be right. I have to be right, which becomes very reactive and emotional versus sometimes, and we all have this, I get into the trap sometimes. John, I'm sure will, as he's chiming in, would be like, oh yeah, because sometimes I'm right. Right. Yeah. Sometimes I'm right. But when it gets to the extremes, it's when you're having really antagonistic relationships with someone and it's about them, you have lots of family members. I use family as an example. Family members often raise their children to believe what they believe. And when they realize that their children as adults or semi-adults, start not doing that and having differing, sometimes families don't like that and have a really hard time splitting that off to say it's okay to have a different opinion. And they get, because there's too enmeshed and entangled. So that I see that a lot in my practice is people are watching their kids become adults and having a hard time managing. And then I get these young 20 somethings and 30-year-olds talking about how their parents have really left them at 18, still talking to them like, they're parenting them instead of being more of like a consultant to them and being friends at that juncture. So it's to get it into that space, it's being able to advocate for yourself to say, this is what I need. This is what I want, by either showing the behavior you're wanting, modeling it, or giving little to minimal feedback that's negative. Because just like with little kids, I had this conversation last night with someone, just like with little kids, when they're doing bad behavior, our gut reaction is to correct it right away and be reactive.
Right.
But what it does is that reinforces the behavior to continue, and people don't realize that, right? If
kids will take negative attention.
Right. If you keep rewarding with reactions to behavior you don't like, you're going to keep getting that. So it's about changing your response and just saying, I'm just not going to participate in, like, why didn't you bring someone to dinner? Are you bringing anyone this year? Are you dating anyone? When are you guys going to have kids? Like those kinds of things become really sticking points for people at the holidays because it becomes pressure and anxiety. And I try to explain to clients a lot of times family doesn't really mean anything harmful by it, but you aren't letting them know that it's agitating to you because you don't want to hurt their feelings, but then you walk away angry and agitated and resentful of them.
Yeah.
So it's about, you want a better life and you want to be better around other people. How do you do that? You say, when you ask me that, it actually puts a lot of pressure on me. And instead of getting defensive and saying, I don't know when we're going to, and then, right, you're just saying, what, you always ask me that every Christmas and the answer is, I don't know. And every time you ask me, it actually really stresses me out. And a lot of people are like, oh, I can say that, but you'll get people who say, oh, I can't say that because I'll upset them. And
see, that to me, that sounds like continuing to trying to affect change in the person you have the relationship with, where oftentimes isn't it more effective to just, again, curb your reaction to it? In other words, you said earlier in the conversation, I said what I had to say. That's still proactively trying to change the other person, which in many cases isn't going to happen.
So yes, but you're missing a point. Mm-hmm. So yes, you're correct. But the point you're missing is the thing where the gap stop comes in, which is your expectation won't be there.
Oh, I see.
You're saying, if you say that, so you have two responses. You have no response. You don't have to say anything at all, which is often like the best response.
Yeah.
But then when you do have a response, if you're saying something like, when you ask me that, it really stresses me out, and I'm asking you not to ask me that, that comes with potentially like, oh, I just want you to stop doing it. But if you just say it to just put it out there, so you're not going, oh, I wish I had said something, then you're off the hook from the expectation, because I don't have an expectation that I'm going to change that person. If you can commit to and accept that I'm not going to change the other person, even if I say something, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm not left with a residual when I leave tonight at Christmas or Thanksgiving or Hanukkah or whatever I'm leaving from, being annoyed that they asked me or they said something or that hurt my feelings and I didn't say something.
Yeah.
Whether they change or not is not the goal. The goal is that I got to say something so I didn't sit with the bad feeling. Because remember, the actual goal set was I want to feel better in relation to this family member or these family members. So whether they do whatever they do is irrelevant. It's whether or not I got to say, I don't like the way that makes me feel. And whether they get mad or not or whatever, it's about I got to say what I needed to say. It didn't violate or annihilate anybody else's feelings, but I'm not going to walk away tonight going, wow, I have 17 things on my head and I didn't say anything.
This is about leaving what a lot of people feel about constantly relitigating the past. I should have said this. I should have said that. I should have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and that's the cognitive dissonance, the cognitive conflict that people get into around these events or these relationships that they want to have a better relationship with family. That's a big New Year's resolution. I want to be more connected, have better things, let things go. What does that look like? Well, you have to start actually having a plan, and a plan has to look like you have to do some of the work. It can't, most people I see are like, well, I'll just ignore it.
Yeah.
But what does ignoring do? Ignoring builds the field of like resentment. Ignoring builds the field of agitation. Or, next year's Thanksgiving, all of a sudden it's, well, you know what you said to me last Christmas, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah.
And
because you're still churning on it.
People will say, no, I'm really good at letting it go. No, I mean, some people can, but it's really rare. Or they're letting it go because they're really easygoing, but they store it.
Yeah.
It doesn't just go out into the universe and just go away, right? There are ways to do that, which is another section of what we're going to talk about meditating on things. But this goal for a new year to have better relationships with either friends or family or whatever, this is probably one of the best places I see that where you can really start at that is starting right now. You don't have to wait till the new year, because you're coming into a holiday where you're going to, Hanukkah just ended, so I missed it for the people that just spent all these days with people in Hanukkah. But for future New Year's, it's doing this very simple thing. I want to be able to speak up. So here's the mini micro goal. I want to be able to speak up when I feel it's necessary to speak up, to advocate for myself. And it doesn't have to be every single time. You may be a person that never speaks up. So this is one time out of every 5 times. So quantifiable, like one time every 3 that, there were 3 comments made, I'm going to make 1 comment. There were 10 comments made, I'm going to make 2 comments. So at least you're measuring in your head that at least I'm now doing something that's proactive for me, regardless of the other person.
Yep.
Right. So in that particular example, that's how that little micro goaling would work. So now let's take bigger ones, right? We'll go to weight, because everyone wants to lose weight, right?
Yep.
So, we'll wait till the 1st. We'll start this big new diet.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Yep.
So, if you've all been listening to me for the past 2 years, coming into 2 years, it's not about dieting, it's about lifestyle. So it's about taking today and committing to lifestyle changes that you can make that are qualifying and quantifying, right? So it's, if you want to wait till the 1st, fine, have a plan. The plan isn't, I'm not a big fan of the diet plans, Atkins, Weight Watchers, it's really about being mindful. You want to plan, do some research. Say, I'm going to, and people want to do, I want to lose 50 pounds. So there's the big goal.
Yep.
But that's too big.
Right.
Right. So I want to feel, so here's how we micro goal it. I want to feel really good in my shorts and t-shirt by February. Great. There's a smaller goal. Okay. Now, how do we get it for 2 weeks prior to that, like mid-January? I want to make sure that I drink way more water than I do now. So I'm going to go to what I know, which is I'm going to take my body weight. I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to be drinking that many or as much as I can towards the halfway goal of that. So if I'm 150 pounds, I'm going to drink 75 ounces of water a day for the next 2 weeks.
Wow. It's a lot of water.
Yeah. All right. Well, really?
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
So, but that's because how much do you weigh?
200.
Okay. So you need to drink 100 ounces of water a day.
Yeah.
For people that can't see Lou's face,
Yeah.
Lou's face is dropped. He's like, what? I've said this to you before. So you
then half my day would be drinking 100 ounces and the other half would be in the bathroom.
But
getting
here's
rid
the
of 100
thing.
ounces.
I know, this is what everybody always tells me. But here's the thing is initially, if you're not used to drinking water like that, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, or the liquids like that. But eventually what happens is your body adjusts because that's what your body actually needs and wants. So your body will adjust into it and you won't be peeing all the time because your body will then learn how to absorb it correctly and maintain itself. So, and it gives you, here's to the goal. You want to feel better about yourself and your goal is weight loss. Well, feel better about yourself. Just start by losing weight by putting water in. And people are like, oh, but that makes me feel bloated. No, that's not how that works. Our bodies are very water based. So we want to constantly be replenishing because it helps our skin. It helps our cognition. It helps. People don't realize how much mental health goes down the drain when you're dehydrated. Right?
Yep.
Your cognitions go down, your ability to function in memory, concentration, focus, because people start focusing on when you're dehydrated, you're more likely to be hungry. So instead of going and getting water, you go for food.
Sure.
When you eat the food, it's usually salty or sweet. And what does it do? It pulls for you to want more liquid. You don't replenish with liquid. You go right to more food, or you go to something that has sugar in it, or you go to something that has like a beverage that has something that's going to give you that, but it's not water or water based. So, you can, going back to a couple shows ago, you go back to, and someone that actually wrote in on one of the shows after, and I saw the comments was right. We never got to that, but water doesn't have to be just strict water out of the tap. It's, we talked about the bubbly waters and all that, but also coconut water. You've got great water content in those types of waters that have the plant base in them, and those are fine to drink because they're water based. You want to drink watermelon, you can crush up watermelon, drink, that's fine because it's all water content. So it's not 100 ounces necessarily of water, but people will say, oh, I can drink coffee. No, because every time you have coffee, even though there's water in it, it's dehydrating because it has caffeine, and so therefore you have to drink another 8 ounces of water to replace.
I learned this lesson and didn't implement it large scale because like a few years ago I went to visit my cousin in Texas, and it was in the middle of the range of plus 100 days, and I was drinking water constantly because it was hot as hell down there. And I was worried about putting back on a little weight because there's a lot of barbecue and there's a lot of great places to eat down there, which I did. I came back and I lost weight, and I remember thinking at the time it had to be because of the water, because I was constantly had water in my hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how important water is to that goal that they want to lose weight, because water helps keep your body replenished so that you're not going to go towards all that other stuff. And it excuse me, it fills you up, and it also does all the right things for your kidneys, your liver. It's a cleanser. It's all these wonderful things that it's not about, I got to lose weight. It's about, well, what steps are you going to take to do that? And people forget that that's probably one of the best first steps. So if you want to lose 50 pounds by summer, stop worrying about the scale. In the next 3 weeks, just from now until September, see where I am? From now until January 1st, try to get as close to half your body weight in water ounces as you can. Now, provided, make sure if you have any medical conditions, don't overdo, make sure you check with your doctors. But by and large, for healthy people, this is what you do, right? Don't oversaturate, because then you have hypernatremia and you can over water yourself. But pretty much the good formula is half your body weight in ounces. So try to get as close as you can. And yep, you're going to visit the potty a lot. But do it front end your day. Do most of it in X amount of time, and then by nighttime you can slow it down so you're not wetting the bed as an adult. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that you see with little kids is, and I see this in my practice all the time, I'll say, how much water have your children had today, or to the kid? And water? What's water? I don't drink water. We have juice box and milk and chocolate milk and more juice boxes, and like, when was there water? Oh yeah, we don't drink water. Why? I don't like water. Oh.
Yeah.
And then the child is off the wall because they're sugared up, bouncing, and then they feel like a drop and drag in the middle of the day, and then they don't feel good, then they have headaches. First thing that, pediatricians, no jump on them, but a lot of times pediatricians will do is we'll give them some kind of medication. We'll give them some kind of blah, blah, blah. It's like, wait a second. How about we give them some water?
Yeah.
In general. So we've got the family level breakdown. If you want to have a better relationship, what do you do? Start by, here's the tip, practicing response, which means no emotion. If it's going to be emotional, then you speak nothing. If you want to actually speak something, don't speak with an expectation, speak with a, advocacy for yourself. That's the only expectation, is you're getting out what you need to say, right? Without having to be right. Now, here's the weight. So the weight one, you want to lose weight. Great. So let's just take the next 3 weeks, and you guys can write into me, and people do this and all the time in my practice. The next 3 weeks, let's just practice getting ready for the first. Can you cleanse your body by just putting in this piece? Now, I have clients that have been doing this since the 1st of November with me. I said, let's ramp up. Let's not wait till the 1st of January. Let's start. So I've got a handful of clients doing this actively right now, just doing the water and a couple other little things, and they've already dropped weight.
Yeah.
Already have dropped weight. I have one client that's already dropped, I think, 11 pounds in a month just by changing the water. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I asked of them. And I would imagine that they have changed some other things by nature, because you know how you start feeling good about yourself, so you change things.
Yep.
I've asked them whether or not they've changed any kind of other pieces. They've said no. I just know the human nature is that we tend to eat a little less. We tend to change our exercise patterns, just whatever, but they say no. Great. I'm thrilled.
You're just more aware. I mean, my big losing weight plan when I went through it was don't eat stupid 100% of the time.
Right.
And that's just a good start too.
Right. So, and if you're keeping mindful, so that's where that little meditative piece is. It's being mindful of something specific. So here's something really easy, the water. Your water intake will help you with so many different things, like I just mentioned, and that will actually maintain your body to not eat as much by proxy, because it doesn't need to. It's not pulling for all the nutrients that it would be, because it's faking your brain out that you need all these things when it's actually just dehydrated. And then it's also clearing all the salt out of your body. And you're going to be more likely to have better sleep, right? People aren't going to be going to bed on, pretzels and cookies and popcorn and ice cream. And although I had some last night, just saying.
Sounded like it'd help my blood pressure too.
Exactly. So it's a big regulator in the body. So that's where I would start first for the goal. So weight loss is awesome. Great. But that's the end goal measure. Oh, we dropped 50 pounds. But how did we do it? That's where people get stuck in the resolution piece, is I'm just going to start. So you get to the first. Now let's go to all the negative stuff that happens. First comes, people start. Now they've had a great night. They had a great Christmas. They ate like crazy. They, eggnogged it up, cake, pastries, partied it up, whatever they ate. And then New Year's Eve, party central, they ate all the things, 10,000 calories.
Yep.
Got to New Year's Day. Oh, now they've had a week and a half of partying, essentially, right? And I'm not saying partying like drunken. I'm talking food party and snack party and party and a little cookie here and a little chocolate there. They get to New Year's Day, the body's like, what do you mean I'm not going to eat?
Yep.
All that stuff. And then you go into shock. So right out of the gate, your body, on the very first day you're starting this thing we'll call the diet, your body's going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We go from way too much to nothing. Or almost nothing. Now we're going to go to saltines, a banana, a yogurt, water, and a piece of chicken.
Yeah.
And the body's going, I can't do this. So what you're doing is you're white knuckling it essentially for 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops. And then all of a sudden people fall apart and go, forget it. I'm done, because it's too hard. And it's not because it's too hard. It's because you front loaded with all this stuff. And then on the day that you say you're starting, abruptly you went, I'm going to restrict and starve myself from all these things that my body just got used to. It doesn't work like this. It's a setup for failure. And this is one of the reasons, and there's several, one of the biggest reasons why people don't get their weight loss started on the first of the year. And they end up gaining weight.
Right.
because they get so discouraged by the end of January and February that now they're gaining weight. And then there's all of a sudden April, May comes, and there's that's when all the Beachbody boot camps come out and all the get 6 weeks to 10-pack abs.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And,
yeah.
But, and it speaks to people that have 100 pounds or more to lose. And it's a gimmick because it goes into the brain of quick, quick, quick.
Right.
But it doesn't work that way. So again, coming into setting small, reachable, tangible, easy goals so that I'm looking at people's comments. Small, attainable, reachable goals that are reasonable. People say, oh, those small goals are like just portion control. That's not a small goal.
No.
That is not, that just take that off the table, literally and figuratively. That's great, but you have to be a scientist sometimes to know what a portion control is.
Plus, denial is not a long-term plan.
Right.
You can't sustain it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I had someone over the previous holiday. I was talking to someone about not eating fries because they had already had X amount of something else during the day. So I was assisting.
Yep.
Of course it's negative. But I was assisting the person with, you shouldn't have the fries because you've already had this because your body's not going to, education moment. And this other person then jumped in and said, well, I eat fries. In my head bubble, and if they're listening, now they'll know what my head bubble was. But my head bubble was, but you shouldn't be eating the fries either.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't say that. The person that actually said that, they move a lot more.
Yep.
So my comment was healthy, was, well, but you move more, so you're going to burn it faster. And it's that's an example of the justification in a family, essentially, of like friends taking and saying, well, it's okay because you're not, you walked the dog, you went up the street to the mailbox, so you can have fries. Well, remembering that if you're eating 3, 4, 5,000 calories a day, and your mindset is already in a bad space of like, I don't feel good, my body's struggling, why does it matter? You're going to never be in a deficit of calories to even maintain the weight you're at, because you're going to feel so yucky.
Right.
So it's not about, well, I can eat them. You're not the same person as that person. You're also not doing the same activity as that person. And also it's about every food choice can't be, well, it's a special day. It's
right.
It's any day that ends in Y can have a party, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a detriment to yourself, and fries are not your friend.
This is why we go back to accountability, and I think one of the most important things, and I would see this as a great first goal as well, is with weight loss as well as finances, which is why these two things work so well together. With weight loss, accountability in terms of just stop being aware of how many calories you're taking in.
Right.
And then stop being aware of how many calories you're burning.
Right.
And then the choices will happen naturally.
Right.
It won't be denial. It will be, I'm going to have this so that I can have that later. And, but you can't make these decisions if you're not keeping track.
Right.
So I think that's an important thing. And there are so many apps out there. You just do it and get your meals in, and you load them in so that if you keep eating them, it's an easy reload. Just become aware of what you're taking in, because you say 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day. Nobody out there thinks they're taking 3,000, 4,000 calories a day.
Right. Well, and it was very clear when I did the Thanksgiving shows, how many people afterwards went back and started counting and going, they were like saying to me like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much I was eating. Right. So to that point, I was having a conversation with a client yesterday about this, because so two things. If you're a novice and you don't know how to do a lot of this stuff and you have no idea what even food looks like in terms of a calorie count, whatever, because I'm not big on, don't go into this weird calorie count thing, but know your food. So, go towards water content. If you're a novice, get an app like MyFitnessPal. Get an app and that one's a good one because it tells you you've hit your carb limit for today. You've hit your protein limit for today. It will start teaching you, if you're new to this, of how to do that and how to really, you put in your height and weight and tell them what you want, and it will be a good guide. Now,
and it comes easy as you start putting in the stuff that you eat every day or routine types of meals, is that it'll save it as a thing, and you don't have to record everything individually.
Right. Well, and it starts teaching you how to actually be mindful of your food choices, as opposed to be a calorie counter, which is important.
Yep.
And the one caveat to that is how people don't put in, well, I ate 3 chips. Yes, you have to put in the 3 chips because they count.
Yep.
People say, well, that didn't really count. I had a bite of cake. That counts. You have to put in like how many. So then if you are actually accountable to yourself, you'll be less likely to take the bite of cake, or you'll take no chips, or you'll take it and account for it, because you want to be honest with yourself to really know what your stuff is going on. It's not about the calories. It's about how much are you putting in your body that can't burn. Like chips and cake can't burn the way watermelon can, strawberries can. Strawberry shortcake is better than a chocolate cake, right? So knowing these things, now you won't know that if you're new to this and you just kind of guess and hope to God the boxes and lean cuisines tell you, right?
Yeah.
But for people who, like, I have lots of clients who are beyond the novice stage with this. And so I was talking to someone yesterday about being able to just go by your body feel, and that's where the water piece or the different little mini goals come in, of like reading your body. That's eating. I have one client that we've been practicing making sure they eat breakfast every day, because they would wait until 3:00 in the afternoon to eat. So they get up early in the morning, wait all the way till 3:00. And then from 3:00 until 11:00 at night, they were taking anywhere from 2,700 calories to 3,400 calories in that small window, and then go to bed on it. So the whole goal for the past month or two roughly has been breakfast every single day, to switch the pattern as just a micro goal. And every single time they come in, they're like, oh my God, I feel so much better, because they're not getting to so they eat the breakfast, and we have specific things that we've worked out that balances their mood, because it was a mood related thing that they were working on. And then by lunch, we just threw it in. And then by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they're not doing what they were doing before. So their whole mood range and their level of anxiety has come down, and their level of depression, feeling that like sad. They was feeling very sad at night.
Yep.
It's all changed, because it wasn't anything that medication needed to help. It was a diet change and an exercise thing. And the exercise didn't have to happen really until we got the food thing under control, because of the pattern that was happening and what happens to the brain. And people have no idea this is what happens. But that's what I'm talking about, goal setting. It's not a goal set for, I want to lose 50 pounds. It's how are you planning to do that? And it's so important to know these little teeny pieces that actually make the biggest difference to get to that goal. People get 2 weeks in and I only lost a pound. You know why you lost a pound? Because that was water weight.
Yeah.
Water weight fluctuates anywhere from 1 to 3, sometimes 4 pounds on people on a day. So if you're moving water around and you're actually fluidly cleaning out your body back and forth, you're going to have better poundage. If you really want that, there's water, right? Because water, people are like, oh my God, I gained 3 pounds. You did not gain 3 pounds overnight. It's water.
Yep.
Your body's now retaining it because it didn't have enough. So you ate all these salty things. So now it's sitting with all the water from the food. And that's why you're gained weight. You didn't gain fat, you gained water weight. But people don't realize that. So they get really upset with themselves and they quit.
And a lot of this is counterintuitive, because you would think that withholding food, like you don't eat till 3 p.m, would be good. You don't take in food, you lose weight. But the problem is it slows your metabolism down, changes the way your body reacts. It actually works against you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Which is why people will go for the fat. The whole psychology for grocery stores, it feeds literally right into your kiosk at the end, like candy bar, nuts, chips, all the little convenience stores, pizza, hot dog, like all the quick fix foods, because they know people are coming in those hours when they're depleted, and it's like an easy, quick, that's why all the fast food restaurants, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, they're great, they're yummy, they fill that need. Right.
Yep.
So aside from all those lovely foods, which is nothing wrong with having those, by the way, once in a while, it's about making mindful choices. So keeping with the theme today, as we get close to the end of the show, resolutions work when you have a plan. If you put out a resolution and it's just, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then there's no accountability and there's no plan to yourself or someone else, it's over. Plans have to be very specific, and they have to be small and attainable, and have to get praise and kudos from yourself or someone else or both, because you can see a measurable difference, and that means you have to have something tangible.
Yeah, and that builds momentum in it. So make those first goals small, attain them. That builds momentum, gets enthusiasm, and you
Right.
start going.
It's kind of like going into the gym. I'm only going to go gym and run 5 minutes, and then you're there for 30. I'm going to save this year $1,000. So that means how many dollars you have to put in an account every single week too. So say you have to put in, say, $50 a week. Well, by the time you start seeing more and more and more, you're more inclined to put in more.
Yep.
Right. I mean, so this is how it builds. That's how people are able to do those things. Put away, put away, put away. Same thing for, relationships, food, weight, spirituality, family, money. Like, it's all the same kind of thing, and they work on the same premise. So really being mindful that don't wait till the first, because you're setting yourself up for failure there. Start today. Even if you make a change today, don't get the efforts and say, oh, well, I already messed up. Because the next time you decide to get a paycheck, you're going to put $10 away. The very next thing you put in your mouth doesn't have to be the yucky choice.
Right.
The next thing can be the water. So it's not all or nothing. It's keep working at it.
You're not a failure if you don't hit that 50 pounds.
Right.
What you're going to find if you pay attention and do it correctly is you're going to find joy in every pound along the way.
Right.
And it's going to get better, and it's going to get easier, and it's going to get more fun, and you're going to get more
attentive about it. It's not going to be this painful, awful thing.
Yeah.
Because this is like the week of these conversations. I said to someone, when you gained, we'll say 50 pounds, when you gained the 50 pounds over the past year, did you notice?
Yeah.
No. Did you enjoy it? And they were like, what do you mean, did I enjoy it? I'm like, well, did you enjoy it? You went on 2 vacations, you drank a lot of yummy things, you ate a lot of yummy things. When you come in and have lunch with me, you eat a lot of yummy things.
Yep.
Like, did you enjoy it? And they're like, well, yeah, I like those things. So it didn't even phase you, right? Right. And I said, well, when you do it this way, the weight loss and the weight coming off will be easier, because it's going to be enjoyable, because you're not doing it on a failure to failure to failure basis. I'm just doing a water change.
Yep.
I'm just doing a water change. Don't change anything else right now. Just do that. And then after we do the water change in 2 weeks, we're going to take 2 weeks off from eating white bread or anything that has white wheat in it. So I'm planting along the way the next little pieces, and usually people jump on them.
Yep.
To start, well, I just took it out anyway. Oh,
yeah.
Right. So and I mean, obviously, if you come to see me, I have the plans and I give them tailored to the people with, it's based on your mental health and what your metabolism is, and in terms of your chemistry and how it's impacting your depression, your anxiety, your feelings of self-worth, all those pieces. It's all tailored, but by and large, it's the same thing across the board. And anybody and everybody that's listening, for your better you and your health and wellness, just add in the water just to start there, and things will start changing.
I'm going to do that.
I'm a big proponent of, there's no need to eat white bread. No white wheat. No white wheat.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with gluten allergy. It's not good for you. Our bodies don't know how to do that. So it does not like our body.
I'm going to do the water. I'm going to do it in the way we've talked about.
Good. I'm going to hear all about this.
No.
Okay, everybody. Next week, when he's yipping at me because he's peeing himself and he has to leave the studio because he has to go to the bathroom, I'm going to love it.
I'm going to do it, and it's going to start with accountability. It's going to start with, I'm going to keep track, and I'm going to keep a log.
Are you going to tell me all about it?
No,
I'm going to check in with you.
I won't tell you at all. I won't.
Oh, you're so ornery. Bah humbug Scrooge.
Sounds like it's a problem, so I won't tell you at all.
No, I don't want it to be a problem. I just think it's funny because you're going to tell me how much you have to pee.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's going to happen for a while.
By the way, I loved all the comments today. Thank you all for.
Artie says you're a genius.
And it's what?
Artie says you're a genius.
Oh, thank you, Artie. Artie is an amazing personal trainer and guru of epic proportion, actually. So to hear that he thinks that I am genius and what I say goes is quite a compliment. Thank you, Artie. And I'm glad that people like the topic today, and we will be building on that for going forward in other ways. I'm going to talk about financial stuff and how to do financial resolutions as well, because it's on the same premise.
Yeah, those are 2 linked activities, and a lot of the same techniques are going to help you.
Right. And people want those, I'm going to save for a vacation. I'm going to, whatever the goal is, but we're going to, because this is the next 3 weeks, this is when people start making all those things. Did you know it's a multi-million-dollar business, those planners now that you can buy that give you your goal set. You can put stickers in them and you make all your little things.
Good Lord. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. like the women's planning book of the year and leadership planning book of the year and men's blah, blah, right?
Yep.
And
Wow.
you know how many
Okay.
of those books I've seen that come into my office in the year that are like half done or less?
How many exist in June
because
still?
people don't utilize them
Right.
correctly.
Yeah.
And so this is part of like, I would love to help people just utilize them correctly. Because years ago, I have fallen short in doing exactly the things I'm not telling you to do because I didn't know them. And it's been my search for helping clients and helping myself do this over the past X amount of 27 years of practice, 26 years of practice almost, to get this in motion. So, and so it's really the basics, and people think, oh, it's too simple. Well, sometimes simple is really all it takes, and then it just adds up and adds up and adds
simple
up.
is doable. The more doable it is.
Right. You didn't gain 50 pounds overnight, right?
Right.
You gained 50 pounds one step at a time.
And by the way, that was pretty simple too.
Yeah. Well, right. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's simple. It's simple to gain weight.
Yep.
It's simple to learn things. It's simple to unlearn things. It's a matter of like, you're committed. You were committed to gaining the weight. You're committed to fighting with your family. You're committed to not saving money. You are.
Yep.
And you also can be committed to saving money, to losing weight, and to having better relationships or getting rid of them. Not all things have to be there. Right. Yep. So just dependent. So anyway, so for everybody that was listening and who will be listening in the future to this podcast, the next couple of weeks, we will be focusing more and more on coming into the new year and how to set these goals and live your better life and be your better you instead of being like the new you. It's not new. It's just a better version of you.
Yep.
So, all right, you guys, catch all my podcasts that you'd like to and going forward on all your favorite podcast channels. And also, if you do not have my newsletter that comes out on a monthly basis, please let me know in the comment section, or you can email me, certainly, and I will make sure you go onto my list because I have great articles and things to utilize that go along with what I talk about on my show. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.